Apparently we're living in a golden age, or at least that's what I'm told. Not about science or arts or philosophy, but television, of all fucking things. This is what society has come to. Television is our best chance for artistic achievement. I know. Stop moving. Yeah. It's lit. There we go. So it all started with HBO and their box sets, and then it moved on with Netflix and their binge-watching ideas, where basically you could spend an entire weekend catching up on the latest episodes of Orange is the New Black. If you haven't watched it, watch it. But basically, this is what happened, is that we became obsessed with what people told us was relevant television. We mentioned this earlier. We know the shows we're talking about, Breaking Bad and Mad Men and The Sopranos and Game of Thrones and all of these shows. And I'm sure some of you have bought the DVDs, some of you have downloaded it on BitTorrent. The funny thing is, though, no one actually watched them when they first came out. Everyone said they did. The only thing anyone actually watched was Game of Thrones, because everyone loves beheadings and boobs. But it's all a bit like Woodstock. I heard this line once, that if everyone who said they'd been at Woodstock had actually been at Woodstock, it would have taken the whole of New York State, not a farm. So everyone always tells you that they were there at the beginning, they saw the first episode of The Wired. But actually, I don't care. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about guilty pleasure television. I'm here to talk about the things that end up on 5 USA. And end up on E4 at 8:40 in the morning. Things like this. This is the show that started it all for me. Pretty but pointless, sunny but superficial. A bunch of middle-aged people playing teenagers who never, ever aged. That is 20 years between those two photos. They look the same. There's not enough Botox in the whole of California to accept that. But I love them dearly. They set the standard, and they created everything that came after this. Now, Dawson's Creek is now known for many reasons. For being where Tom Cruise spotted a child bride. For where the first acting job for somebody to get an Oscar. And also for having a cast where the dialogue made them all sound like PhDs. But these days, it's mainly known about Dawson Leary crying. He's become an entire meme, so James Van Der Beek, in that desperate attempt to have 5 more minutes of fame, has bought into it. So basically, he runs a website where he acts out the memes. But the one great thing that they did do in Dawson's Creek is they actually hired actors who were the same age as the people they were playing. Until this time, it was pretty much unheard of. It was a major, major issue that basically, at least they could remember being teenagers if they weren't. And this is one of the shows that did well out of that. The O.C. The great thing about The O.C. was they burned through just about every cliche known to man from teenage movies in the first 4 episodes. Then just rewrote those 4 episodes with different characters over and over and over again. But this is what you really remember about The O.C. In The O.C., everyone was always pissed, always high, or pissed, high and having sex, or just drunk, something. It was basically written by a bloke who never got invited to any parties when he was a teenager. I'm sorry, I love this show. It's good. The whole thing about the Gilmore Girls is there's this legend about Aaron Sorkin when he was on The West Wing. He wrote so much dialogue, the actors had to learn how to speak faster, like me. The reality is, compared to these girls in this show, they were talking in slow motion. And it's nothing to do because the fact Lauren Graham is the star. Absolutely not, honestly. Also, the fact that I watched a show called Parenthood, which is terrible, and she's the star in that, that's a coincidence. This is a really, really weird one. This is a show called Bunheads. It was basically all the cast who didn't get any jobs after Gilmore Girls all ended up in this show. It lasted for about 12 episodes, got cancelled, not surprisingly. It was kind of weird, but it's never going to be on UK television. I won't say how I got it. There's no words for how much I love this show. Well, there obviously are, because here I am. Veronica Mars is the greatest television ever made. It's cool. It's better than any teen show, cooler than Magnum P.I. And to such an extent that certain fans got together on Kickstarter and paid $5.7 million to get a sequel movie made. I might have contributed a little bit to that, a little bit more than I'm willing to admit, a little bit more than the taxman knows. The big difference with all these things is Breaking Bad and things like that, they want to win an Emmy. My shows, They just want to have a nice write-up on television without pity, or get a trend on Twitter. They don't care about the awards, and you know it. So, for those who don't know, this is actually Fonzie jumping the shark. I realised my talk jumped the shark about 6 episodes in. But like all great team shows, I had to take it to the very, very, very bitter end. Thank you for listening.